Hello everyone. These slides cover the tutorial 2 uh, and it covers some of the HTML5 things which were confusing. It covers more on CSS. Up till now, you must have created a web page using CSS, but you never worked on CSS, but you must have created a web page in your lab 1 and you follow the instructions how to create that page. So you now know the basic HTML and how it works and how you can add a website in Visual Studio. For those who were asking questions about how you should start, I have added that part in my previous lecture recording, but again I'll tell you. If you click on your Visual Studio, I have 2017 on this machine. So if you go into your Visual Studio, you just go to File, New, and then Website. You have to select ASP.NET empty website. Select the folder where you want this website to be. Change the name of the website. And click OK. So yeah, so now you are into the IDE. You click folder and add an HTML page from here or a new item and select HTML page from here and select, for example, any page name that you want to add. You just add one HTML page. Now the HTML skeleton that it gives you is doc type HTML, which is HTML5 document type. Earlier, they used to be XHTML or 1.0 XML, but now it is simple HTML just for HTML5. Simply because Microsoft Visual Studio is using IntelliSense, and which is helpful in writing long codes. So I am using Microsoft Visual Studio with this website, a new page, an empty website. The other thing that you have seen in previous years lecture slides, that there is a design view. So if you want to see the design, you go to open with and you do web forms editor and click OK and say yes, whatever it says, and then you have a design view. Here again, hello from Visual Studio, and you just go and see your split view. You can add your elements. So these are the HTML elements that you can use. Right, going back to my slides. Now you should know this basic stuff, and IntelliSense is giving you, general features of parameter info, quick info. It is completing your words, so it is helpful. The tags and things that you were not aware of for doc type HTML, for example, it is just a declaration for HTML5. Again, very simple. Then you have default character encoding in HTML5, which is UTF-8. In your lab assignment, I've asked you to change your character encoding scheme. The reason being you are using different codes in that file and which are not possible by using only UTF-8. Then you have a modernizer file. I have shared the link to you guys as well. But it is a free source, open source, is a free open source MIT licensed JavaScript file functions that provide support for many HTML elements, HTML5 elements. So this is we are using so that if your code has to be used in different browsers, that browsers are supported through this and they don't crash. basically. The other more interesting elements in HTML5 are semantic elements, some attributes, some graphic elements, some media elements, and figure. So there are all tags and things that have been introduced in HTML5. At the moment, we are focusing on the first semantic elements. So when you get hang of all of these, then we'll move on. And HTML5 is still a work in progress, and you will see many things being changed, and you have to keep yourself up to date if there is some progress. The good resources to learn HTML5 is W3 Schools and Mozilla website. Yeah, so you should, because I'm not really spoon feeding you guys, so you have to work on your own. If you see, for example, a character encoding word here, you can Google it and you can see how other people have defined it or explained it. And that's the reason I am not giving you any book. I want you guys to explore. I want you guys to know more by reading more and working more. So yes, then these things, the other few I want to choose 4 slides are about the lab work that you have to do for this week. So I've asked you to, to build up a CSS file, and there are a few instructions in there. These in this tutorial, I have given students some hints what I mean by a few instructions, and if you follow these lectures, these tutorial slides, it might be helpful for you to work on your lab work too. Right. So opacity. Opacity is basically defines how transparent an element is. I've asked you in the instruction that you have to change the opacity. Change the opacity of a color, and I've also asked you to um, use something um, which is definitely visible on one version, on older versions, and if someone is using an older browser, even then they are able to see the color. So for this, if you use color white only, this is visible to all old browsers. But if you're using color RGBA, it can add opacity to white color, and it is not comprehensible to the previous browsers. So something like this I've been asked in your lab work. For example, set the font color to white for older browsers and to white with 50% opacity for newer browsers. So 0.8 is not 50%, 0.5 is 50%, and one value of 1 would be 100% opaque. So you need to really, figure out how to do this one. I've already given you the hint. The other thing that this is telling you is this is a footer address, and its background color is this, and its foreground colors are these. um, Font is of this size and small caps and this size, while text is aligned to center. This is in your HTML5 file. So meta name is equal to viewport, content is equal to width is equal to device width. So what it is telling you, the browser, is that your content should be displayed in the visible area of a web page, which could be of any device width. So if a person is using desktop, the widths are different. If person is using tablets, the widths are different. So the viewport could vary with the devices. And this is what it is telling you. And 1.0, just sets the initial zoom of the page. Then there are pseudo classes concept, and I've asked you to do, hovering of the mouse over list items and all that. These hovering mouse overs and unvisiting, style changes for visited and unvisited links are through pseudo classes. These all are pseudo classes. Anything with a selector and then colon link, colon visited, colon hover, colon active, they're all pseudo classes. used with pseudo selectors. I've also given a cheat sheet, CSS cheat sheet to students today, and I have uploaded it for you all. And you can use it for your lab assignment too, and for all your CSS work. It is helpful and it is handy. Um, yeah. The other thing that I wanted to ask you is we used a pseudo class last week in last lecture as well. Which one was it? If you just think about it and see which was the pseudo class that we used, you might end up at your first line was a pseudo class for paragraph. So yeah, you can have other pseudo classes as well as in your style sheet. There are pseudo selectors, first line, focus, hover, link, visited, they are all pseudo classes. The other thing that I wanted to mention here is managing your style sheet. So you should be writing clearly. You should write comments throughout what style you are using, why you are using it, and who is creating it. The other thing, if you're using numbers for colors, try to, of course, annotate them. If you're using Visual Studio and IntelliSense, then you can use the name of the color. Other thing in your lab, I've asked you to add, 3 numbers as a color. For adding such a number, such a color, you need to add RGB and then the color within parentheses. Right. And yeah, you should be dividing your style sheet in sections and commenting what each section is doing. You should have an organizing scheme. So if you have a style sheet with, uh, selectors as corresponding to your HTML selectors, it's same sequence, or you can have your selectors and style sheet in alphabetical order or based on some sections. Just be consistent. The other thing that you can do with every style sheet is that you can, change the files. You can have separate files for layout, separate file for text design, and some separate file for graphics and colors. So, and you can use import rule and then combine them in one web page and then just use as a style sheet. For example, like this, you add typography in one CSS file, layout in another, and color in another, and then all three can be loaded from the single element. So this is what we did in our tutorial. The other thing that I did in the tutorial was I gave the students this file and I asked them to think about how to write a CSS file. So the way you should do it is you need to think what are the sections here. For example, if there is a header here, then there should be a header in CSS file. If there is a class named horizontal, then there should be a class horizontal in your CSS, and class vertical and stuff like that. I'll just comment this one out. Now, if you look at the design view, split view basically, you see that this is how it is, right? And if I just uncomment my file is out of sync, click here to synchronize. So now my design view is like this. That means something changed in the CSS file because your content is same, but the CSS changed. So if I go to my CSS file, which was what? This one, and look at few things. So we have a body with width. I don't think we need it because I changed the core meta viewpoint device width. So if I go and just comment this one out, what will happen? See, it is now taking the whole width. Control Z. Yes. Otherwise, it was just taking the 100%. Why I like to have the whole width is because it changes with the device size, and it's helpful for everyone. I mean, so if I go and check it in my HTML Chrome browser as well, it is like this. And if I try to, zoom out, zoom in, it becomes like this. It's a bit better. And zoom out. Right. Now I'm going back to my work. Not this one, but this one. Okay. So I'll go back and then I'll see header layout. Header layout says width should be 100%, height should be 120 pixels. Now we can change the number of pixels, but if you look at and see, your header has the image. And you were saying that image should have height of 120, and I think it can increase to 200 pixels. Let's see how it, see, this is better, but it had, yeah, so these are all down here, and this is your image. And if I go back, it's 200 pixels. It was 120 before. The horizontal navigation is just close by, so I don't want it like this. Either I want to do header 120 and then float left, and try to see how it works in the Chrome itself. Now see, this is home there, which is under the hummingbird, and we don't like that. So I'll go back and try size 200. Now first I'll see 120 with no float. Oops, not this one, this one. See, home is somewhere there, we can't really see it. So we should have home down. So we just change it and look at it again. See, now the whole header has 200 and everything is below it. So this makes it better. Then we go navigation dot horizontal. What is this corresponding to? So this is corresponding, so where are we? Lamp horizontal is corresponding to this one. Okay, because it's a class horizontal, and it's saying width should be 100% for nav horizontal. And nav horizontal UL should have padding of 0 and margin of 0, which is making it in a horizontal line. Then the list item should be left, list style should be none, padding is 0, width is 20%, and text alignment is 30%. We can have, if you look at this one, it has some background color as well. Oh no, we don't have any background color here. We can have a background color here, which could be, Alice blue. And if you look at here, so this is Alice blue. And yeah, now this is all navigation list of horizontal. No, sorry, horizontal till here. And then vertical lift, vertical is 200 pixels, and it is here with clear left, float left. What it means that we want on the left side, and this is it. Then we have the snap vertical, which is like this. Then we have section styles, where we are saying border right is 1 pixel solid black. If you can have it 2 pixels, you can see this is this border, which is 2 pixels. Float left with 39%. Now 39% is just taking the width of the page. we know that 200 pixels is already taken up by vertical navigation. We can increase it to 49%. Let's go here and do VN browser. See, it's taking 49%. Okay, so my files are floating. Right. So we have this, and then I've increased it 49%. It's still working. Then we have section. We are in section. Floating left and article style. So we have article image, which is 150 width, floating to right, and 15% pixels. This is what it is. We can increase the width to 200 pixels. Float to the left. It won't look nice on the left, should make it right. And margin is, the space from its border, but this will fine. Then we have, so I increase the size of the image using width. Right, so it is giving us this, and then we have a side float left, so it's floating to this side. Here the buzz. Now we are saying its width should be 39%. I'm saying this width should be just 20%, and it should float margin left this much. That's fine. And see, here the buzz should just be, and float to the right, please. So it just floated to the very right. Now footer is clear left, but I wanted to clear both. So now it's at a footer here, and yeah. I haven't added block quote, anything, but you can add if you want to. So you see everything that is used here has to be used in your CSS file. Give its margin, colors, and text alignments, and you should be able to format the web page. That's what we did today, and I think you should be able to do your lab work now. So in the lab work, I asked you to make IDs. There, I haven't made any ID here. So what I actually mean is basically, for example, for this header, I create ID is equal to article header. Now this article header should be here somewhere as a ID. Now article header, what I want with article header is add border. Spelling is wrong. So you can see that there is an ID article header, and this is the article header in your CSS. So wherever I've used that you have to add ID attribute for page header and so on and so forth, you need to add these. So I've given you enough hints to do your lab work. That's all for now, guys. Have fun working with your tutorial too. Bye.